At the age of 6, I was molested. At the age of 8, I was exposed to pornography. At the age of 10, I thought of committing suicide. All these things developing into my life, into my teenage years, to where I'm in high school, where I distrust people, I feel hopeless, and I have no idea what's next. Now, the only thing that's keeping me going is sports and parties, and that's literally all I want to do. I want to go to the latest game, and I want to go to the next party, and I just kept living life just to fill in this void and this hurt and this pain that happened to me when I was younger, just covering up with more and more and more things that literally were making me sick or just making me ill, and there was something just missing inside. So we're in my high school years, and I have all these things in this past that are literally bogging me down, and it was my senior year, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. It was just a time where life was just going crappy. Sports was failing me. Parties were just dimming down. I had nothing going for me. I was thinking that where I'm going to go to college, where am I going to go this or that, and nothing's going to work out for me. And I just remember just feeling like I don't know what I'm going to do. I remember driving down this road in Shiloh, Illinois. It was called Green Mountain Road, and I saw a piece of property, and I was like, I looked at the piece of property, and I saw a sign, and it said Faith Family Church, and I was like, I'm gonna go there one day, and it just kind of came out of me. I've never been to church. I've never even know who Jesus was or who even God was. I just looked at the property and I was like, man, I want to go. 1 week later, Steven Spielberg came out with a movie called The Passion of Christ. Now, when I went to this movie, one, no one went. Two, I've never seen so many men cry in my whole entire life. I left watching that movie thinking, who is Jesus? And why are these men crying? Why do so many people care about this man named Jesus? What did he do to get beat so bad? He had to do something horrible to deserve what he's done. But so I began to start my journey there. Began to go to churches, figuring out who this Jesus is. I was going from church to church to church. Nothing was working out for me. I was like, you know what? This isn't my thing. I kind of just gave up on it. I just didn't get the answer of who Jesus is. So I just kind of gave up on it. I was like, this is not my thing. Kind of toned down on the wild living just because it wasn't even satisfying to me. I started to dwindle down on a lot of other things in my life just because. But when I would go to the gym, when I would go to to go get groceries, when I'd hear Jesus, it'd literally ring. And I'd be like, what is up with this? Then Thanksgiving Day came. Thanksgiving Day. I walked inside my house, and my dad just immediately starts yelling at me. Where you been? Where have you been? I was like, I was out. And I just remember we were just conversing words, and I'm just in trouble just for disobeying my parents. I didn't tell where my parents were I was. And, Thanksgiving, you're with the family, and you're supposed to have a good time. And I'm just sitting there all bitter, like my dad, just as soon as he sees me, he hasn't seen me for like a whole day, and all he does is yell at me. And I'm just being so rude and inconsiderate at the dinner table, and everyone's just really annoyed of me. Well, I'm just sick of it, and I just get up. I'm just gonna leave. So I got up, I ate my dinner, I'm getting ready to leave. And I turned around, and there's my dad, and he grabbed me by the throat, and he threw me against the wall. And he said, don't you ever disrespect me again. And I'm like, whoa, what did I do? And he drew back his fist, and he hit me in the face, and he punched me over and over and over again. And I'm looking at him like, Dad, please stop. And I just kept getting hit in the face. And then suddenly I just lost it, and I just kicked my dad, and then before I know it, me and my dad are fighting and wrestling on the ground. We're upstairs, we're just grappling around. I'm punching him, he's punching me, and it literally feels like I'm just hitting a rock and like nothing's happening. I'm trying my best to get away, and I finally get to slip away, and I run downstairs, and I'm starting to pack my clothes up. I'm getting ready to leave the house, and I hear, if you leave this house, I swear you'll never come back here again. And I'm like, I'm all crying, I'm weeping, I have no idea what's going on. As soon as I get out, I put my bag over my shoulder and I'm getting ready to get out the door, and I'm shaking so much. I can't even open up the door, and I'm trying to unlock the door to get outside, and before I know it, my dad's right behind me. And it begins to just choke me out, begins to pull me back, and I just begin to lose my breath. And I could see spots, and I'm pushing him back, and we end up being in my room, and I just began to grab whatever I could, and I grabbed the nearest liquor bottle I could, and I smashed it right on my dad's head. My dad fell over. I grabbed the bottle. I braced him right on top of him, just ready to smash his face in, because he was literally about to take my life, I felt. And I was getting ready to smash the bottle right into his face, and I looked up, and I saw my mom. She just recently put up a cross above my room. I just began to yell out, like, God, where are you? Where are you? I've been trying to find you. I've been trying to seek you. I want to know who this Jesus is. Why don't you answer my questions? And then I just felt like just peace just came down me, just like oil, just like a shower after a hot day, just cooled everything down. I just got calm. I got in control of myself. I was like, okay. I put down the liquor bottle, and I looked down at my father, and I just saw a puddle of blood, and I'm thinking, like, I just killed my own dad. And I'm seeing my mom just scream and yell in the background, and all I can hear is it being muffled. So I ran out, and I left. I ran away from home. I didn't want anything to do with anything that had to do around my family or anyone else. So I just ran away. I just went to my friend's house. I just laid low. A few days later, I decided I'm gonna try out church one more time. I'm gonna try it out one more time. So that piece of property that I drove by, it was a grand opening. It was a grand opening for this church. So I went in. I have no idea exactly what the pastor said that day, but I knew one thing. When I got through those walls, I just felt so much love, so much comfort that I've never felt before. And towards the end of the sermon, he's like, if there's anyone that needs prayer for anything, we're going to have prayer teams on the right and the left. Please, if you have a prayer request of any kind, please come up. So I was like, I need prayer. I just killed my dad. So I went over to this awesome couple. And they just embraced me. They just held me. And they didn't care what the time was. They didn't care that they had to have lunch. They didn't care about anything but me at that moment. I just never felt so much love in my whole entire life. I just felt so discontent, such an outcast in my family, even to begin with, even in the world, just going out and partying and doing all these things. I was just trying to fill in this gap that really all I really wanted was love. And I never felt love like I felt from them. So they prayed for me. And that day, I figured out that my father was alive, and I was relieved, but yet still scared. As the month passes by, I just felt indebted to the church. I just felt like I just needed to keep coming, so I kept coming over and over again, and I realized there's a commitment. There is something that you have to literally lay down, and I just didn't want to lay down these addictions that I had in my life. I just love smoking weed. I just love drinking. I just love sleeping around. I don't want to give that up. And I just heard something so simply from some men in my church, and they're like, man, it's not about giving up stuff. It's about a relationship. And I'm like, man, if it's about a relationship, then this person will love me for who I am. And I finally made that commitment on the New Year's Day, January 1st, 2007, to give my life to Christ. And my life has never been the same. Never. I came from being in my hometown in Belleville, Illinois, all the way to Colorado. Got to go to an internship in Colorado. Got to go all the way over to Mexico, where I actually learned I had this oratorical gift to speak, and I got to speak in prisons. I got to give altar calls, and I went all the way to Brazil, and I lived in Brazil for 3 months, and I got to lay hands on the sick and see them recover. I got to preach to the lost, and they found Jesus. People were finding Jesus, and I was being obedient to the call that God had for me. And if I wouldn't have submitted myself, if I wouldn't embrace this relationship, I wouldn't have been able to travel all over the world. And it was so beautiful that I met my wonderful wife, and I came back to my hometown just to share the gospel and to share what God has done for me. And it's beautiful because I get to do one thing I love most. I am now an assistant youth director at Faith Family Church. And I get to preach to junior hires every Sunday. And I get to preach to college kids once a month. And I love it. This is my life.